Hello, and thank you for downloading what we call the Ultimate Divorce Planning Checklist. You've made the right choice because this checklist is more comprehensive than a lot of the checklists you're going to find out there. It was created by a seasoned divorce lawyer based on feedback from hundreds of clients for over a decade. Hi, I'm Alexandra Geczi. I'm an attorney and founder of Alexandra Geczi Family Law. I'm also the creator of the checklist that we're going to be reviewing today. This video is just a quick walkthrough to help you maximize the benefits of this tool that you've now downloaded to help you on your journey. If you're like me, you like to plan and prepare so that you feel a little bit more in control and confident about the decisions you have to make. We all know that divorce is one of the most difficult decisions you're ever going to have to make, so you want to make sure that you are prepared and that you're going to do it right. We also, with that in mind, we also have another resource that we're going to share with you. If you stick around to the end, I'll tell you how to get that resource as well. It's another great tool that will help you on your journey and moving forward. But first, let's talk about this checklist. Let's take a look at it. You know, this is not a legal or financial checklist. This is more of a practical tips and advice. Sort of some practical steps that you're going to need to be doing on your divorce journey, whether that be before, while you plan and prepare, during, or after. And these are just the things that you're going to need to get done. Now, keep in mind, this is the same checklist that we use for our clients during their strategy sessions. So how it works is when a client retains our firm, one of the first things we do is we'll schedule a consultation, a strategy session with them and me one-on-one. We go through the law, we answer their legal questions, we customize the plan, we go through this checklist, and we will figure out what is unique to them and what they need to focus on. We've also broken this checklist down into categories to help it make it a little bit easier to navigate. As you can see, we've got our financial, we've got credit, family protection, we've got property, privacy, and then health and wellness. Those are kind of the main categories that most people tend to need to focus on during the divorce process. Note that some of these are not going to apply to everyone. Everybody is going to be a little bit different. Some people may only need to hit a few of these, while others are going to need to do a lot more of these tasks. For example, if you're a couple that has both been employed, you both have been maintaining separate financial lives, maybe some of this stuff in the financial part of the checklist doesn't really apply to you, versus if you've been a stay-at-home mom who really hasn't had access to the financials, you're going to need to do more of these tasks in the financial section. You'll also notice that, that we have some of these tasks are here. You see these little check marks under the pre-filing column. Those check marks are there as a suggestion, not necessarily as something you have to do. They are something that you want to maybe consider completing before you or your spouse files for the divorce. And the reason is that in Texas, a lot of the counties, most of the counties in fact, now have what's called standing orders that are automatically put into effect when you file for the divorce. And what are these standing orders? They're basically kind of generic orders that enjoin certain behaviors so that, people play fair during the divorce. At least that's the theory. That's kind of the intent. They enjoin things like threatening each other in a harassing manner, hiding children from the other parent, opening and closing bank accounts, canceling insurance, frivolously spending money, and moving money around. Those are the kinds of things that order tries to keep the parties from doing. So before you file, you need to consider whether you need to do some of these things, because it will be much more difficult to do these things once the divorce is actually filed. Now, while this checklist is a really great tool, it is not the end-all, be-all. It is not a one-size-shoe-fits-all, and it is not formal legal advice. Every case is different, and nothing can substitute the advice of a lawyer or a legal professional customizing the guidance for you. This list is intended more as sort of a tool and resource for you to start thinking about things, thinking about your options, planning and preparing, and opening up that dialogue with your lawyer or your divorce professional. And it is also the first step in your journey. As I alluded to earlier, there's a next step, right? So you may be wondering, okay, so where do I go from here? Now that I've got this checklist, you go through the checklist, what's the next step? Well, you probably have lots of questions that you want answered. So, you know, where are we going to live during the divorce process? How do we tell the kids about the divorce? Do I have to pay alimony? Can I receive alimony? How do we calculate child support? Do we have to sell the house? Can we live together in the same house? Does one of us have to move out? When do we move out? You know, what is the timeline? Who files first? All these questions. These are wonderful, great questions. And it's a lot of the questions that our clients have over and over again. So we developed a webinar. It originally started off as a workshop that we did in person, but because the demand was so high for the information that we were sharing, we turned it into a webinar that is now on demand and viewable at your convenience. We call it Get Your Ducks in a Row, How to Plan and Prepare for Divorce. And because you know, we know where you're at with all these questions. This is basically going to be a very high-level overview of the divorce process, the laws that are involved in Texas divorces. It's going to talk about options for divorce that you probably didn't know existed. A lot of our clients want to minimize the conflict, so we're going to talk about that in the webinar as well. And we've introduced divorce planning, and then at the end, we're going to tell you how you can work with us, what the next steps are, that kind of thing. So there's really no time like the present to get started on this next step. It's super easy to register if you just click on the button on the screen here to register for the webinar. It's free, instant access. You can view it at your convenience when it's a good time for you. It's viewable on computer, iPhone, whatever device you've got. So there's really no reason not to register now and download this and continue your journey here and learning more about this process. It will make you feel so much better to have that knowledge, to know it's from a trusted source and that you're doing the right thing. So I hope this video was helpful in helping you kind of get an overview of things, and I appreciate your time, and I really would like to work with you going forward. And if you have the opportunity, please register for the webinar now, and I look forward to seeing you there. Take care.